Coaches, I know every single one of you have asked yourself this question or thought of this question. How do you get players to work while nobody's watching, while you're not with them? Your time is limited. You only have so much time to spend with them per day, per week, per month, so on and so forth. You have games. You have different personalities to deal with. How do you get each individual on your team, each player on your team, to work when you're not there? To have the focus, the concentration, to have the discipline while you're not there. So excited to get into this topic. Why don't you start it off for us, Billy?
Yeah, that's a difficult subject. We can do a lot of things when we're with our players, to get them to put in the work that we want. But how do we get them to do it when we're not there? That's a good one. I think most importantly is our motivation for our athletes. So how do we motivate our athletes to be able to want to work when no one's watching? I think it takes a great connection with our athletes, first of all, a personal connection. It'd be great to know, if you knew their parents, if they have siblings, what their interests are, things outside of baseball as well to help develop that connection. So we get to know them, and then we can really motivate them to want to succeed. And I think giving our players the motivation of, this team could win a championship, this is what we're here for, to play together, to bond as young men,
Yes.
I think that's huge, getting them to come together and for a common goal of hopefully winning a championship, and then that can motivate players to want to put that work in.
Let's talk about one of our shared experiences. Our high school baseball coach. Our high school baseball coach played football in college. Not to say that he wasn't a good baseball player, but he was more so of a football guy. Very intense, very energetic, which is not a bad thing. We're not criticizing that at all. But, he had big chews in his lip, and he would scream and chew and dip and would be going flying all over the place, and he would get super intense. And he knew how to motivate some guys. He knew how to get guys' juices flowing, right? How do you get guys' juices flowing away from the field? That's a complete different animal than being able to motivate your guys at the field, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Complete different animal to deal with it. And one of the most important aspects of that is getting them to see into the future in a positive light, getting them to see what's possible for them, getting them to see, if you put in the time on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then by the time Friday or Saturday comes around and we're playing a doubleheader, we're playing a game, you're going to be much better suited for success. You have the potential for success, and it's important them to envision what success looks like in their own mind. Not everyone is going to have the exact same thing. Okay, I want to get a hit every single time. Everyone's a different player. Are you a guy that hits the ball gap to gap? Are you an over the fence guy? Are you a guy that needs to focus more on their defense? What is that thing that they need to envision in the future? There's a ton of literature on leadership, right? Book after book, after course after speech. I don't claim to be Martin Luther King. I don't claim to be Tony Robbins. I don't claim to be an expert speaker. But if you look at the literature, one thing that continues to come up, one thing that continues to shine through in all of this information on leadership is that leaders cast a vision of something in the future. They cast a vision of something that could potentially happen. They cast a vision of a better world, of a better place. You don't have to be changing the world. You're speaking to your team, but you have to create the vision of how them working away from the field is going to help their on the field success. It's going to help them away from the field. It's going to help them in their relationships and their schoolwork. You have to paint a better picture. And once they see that, once you guide them to a better picture, then they're much more motivated, like Billy was talking about. But there's an interesting thing about motivation, right? A lot of, you can say 50% of the population, once they need to be motivated, they need to be drawn by an image. But some people, just to get them going, just to get them simply moving, it's like, the fat, lazy person that's sitting on the couch and scrolling through the internet and is trying to find like the perfect workout plan or the perfect diet or the magic diet. when they just need someone to scream in their ear to move, like get up and get your ass going. Sometimes you have to paint a picture of what the consequences are. You know, the old adage of pain versus pleasures is the whole essence of motivation. Sometimes you have to paint a picture of what could potentially happen that they don't want. You know, like the carrots and sticks, the jackass getting hit on the rear end. So, you know, talk about that aspect of it, wanting, you know, moving away from what you don't want.
That's a good one. I think we need to be empowering as coaches, which is the main thing. So if we can be empowering to allow our athletes to find what's, you know, great in themselves, that's huge. That's huge to our success. But with your question, that is a tough one. So can you reframe the question for me?
Yeah. So there's players that need basically a kick in the ass, right? Motivation is carrots and sticks, right?
Okay.
Moving towards something, or, you know, saying you need to paint the picture. For example, you don't want to strike out 3 times in a game anymore, right? So as a leader, you paint the vision of what's possible, what the positive thing is. But on the flip side of it, to get them moving, right? The analogy of carrots and sticks, where you dangle a carrot out in front of a donkey and he wants to move towards it, right? Or the stick part of it is where you hit the jackass on the rear end to get him to move. Some of your players just need a kick in the ass to get moving, right? So you need to paint the picture of, hey, if you don't want to strike out 3 times in a game anymore, you need to get your ass to the cage. You need to start doing some stuff on your own. So they need a kick in the ass to get them moving towards the carrot.
Yeah, I like that. So
Yeah.
we can reframe it where, you know, our team, we have a really good team, you know, everyone's working together. You know, it's like a link, it's like a fence, you know, there's a link, every link has to be strong for the fence to be strong. So you could say to that player, you know, you're struggling right now, and if that happens, that's baseball, you know, that's life. You're going to struggle a little bit, but we can't allow it to be a weak link in the chain. You know, we got to be strong mentally, and we got to get our ass in gear and get out there and really perform, because we don't want to let our teammates down. We want to.
Yes, huge one. Yes.
We want to play for our teammates. We want to play for ourselves. We want to play for our families and whoever else. So we don't want to let anyone down, including ourselves, which is important as well.
Huge motivation right
So
there.
I think
Yes.
getting our teammates all on the same side and all for that common goal comes back to that as well.
I agree. And the motivation of not letting other people down, teammates, coaches, that there's also the player that just wants to, they want to see their effort from practice work in a game. It's like demoralizing to them. They put you know, all of this mental energy, emotional energy into just simply doing it the right way. You know, that's another big driver. That's another big aspect of, like, hey, if you want to stop messing up doing, you know, the mechanical side, or if you don't want to mess up something as far as the mindset side goes, you have to paint the picture of, you're not going to execute. You're not going to execute in the game unless you know, do A, B, and C that I want you to do away from practice. Because this whole video is about how do you get your guys to do it away from practice. So you have to paint a picture of what's possible, what they want, right? Moving towards something, the donkey going towards the carrot. And you also have to paint the picture for some guys. It's about 50-50, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it could vary any team, but
of
probably
course.
about
And it's
half and half.
contextual depending on your team, and, you know, there's a lot of other factors. But you have to figure out what that player is. Does he need a kick in the ass, or does he need you to paint a picture of the future? And ask yourself, honestly, ask yourself as a coach, am I painting a picture of what's possible for these guys? Am I painting a picture of what's possible for each individual? Now, that's not to undermine the importance of team and to undermine the importance of trying to win for a common goal, but you're going to have a better chance, you're going to have a better probability of getting to that team goal if you deal with each player as an individual. So it's about moving towards, figuring out which ones you need to give a kick in the ass to move away guys, and tailor it towards your team. So is there anything else you want to add before we end this one out and jump on to the next lesson?
No, I think you hit all the points that we needed to.
It's a little hot out here. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to get to the next video.